They wish now not for the good of the realm, but for the satisfaction of vengeance.
Will we get a satisfying ending in the next season of House of the Dragon? Season 2 might still be a couple of years away, but if you're eager for some clues, you're in the right place. So, Season 2 is all about the Dance of the Dragons, starting right after Season 1. We ended Season 1 with the first fight, setting up the Son for a Son storyline. Episode 2 is actually called Son for a Son, where Rhaenyra seeks revenge for Luceray's death. Aemond killed Luceray's, but in the book, things were a bit different. Aemond didn't feel bad about it, or at least that's what people heard from others. Some even thought Luceray's fell into the water and forgot everything, living a happy life. That's how we'd like to imagine it. So, in the last scenes of Season 1, a lot of important things happened. Daemon went to Vermithor, Rhaenyra flew away, and Jacaerys went on his own mission. These things will have big effects on what happens next. We think Season 2 will start with Jace trying to get support from his mom. So, he visits two places, the Eyrie and the Winterfell. At the Eyrie, he meets Lady Jane, who, like Rhaenyra, isn't seen as fit for leadership by many. There are stories about their meeting, even one about a strange oath. Lady Jane, who's never married and has rumors about her, kind of reminds us of Queen Elizabeth I. She sees Rhaenyra in herself and agrees to help. Jace also goes to Winterfell, a famous place in the Game of Thrones. This could be a great start, bringing the Starks back into the story after a brief appearance in Episode 1. So, according to my Esther Munkins account, Cregan Stark and Jacaerys hit it off right away and become great friends. Jacaerys reminded Cregan of his younger brother who passed away. They did everything together, drinking, hunting, training, and even made a blood oath of brotherhood. And there's a little something extra from Mushroom. He talks about a girl named Sarah Snow that Jace supposedly married while he was away. She's called the Wolf Girl and is said to be the bastard of Lord Rickon Stark. They got married in Winterfell's Godswood before a heart tree, and then they did their thing wrapped in furs while the old gods watch. But in the book says this might be all made up. But still, with the show adding in stuff like the Valyrian dagger and calling her Sarah Snow, maybe they're trying to tie it into Jon Snow's story. Now, on to the aftermath of Luceray's death. According to the book, Rhaenyra's side went all out for revenge after that. Daemon promised her a son for a son, meaning they're not taking things lightly. So, he talked to Mysaria, who then sent two assassins into the castle, but basically, these assassins made Helena choose which of her kids had to die. She picked the youngest, Maelor, but they ended up killing the eldest, Jaehaerys, instead. Helena went nuts because she had to live with the guilt of choosing her own son to die. She couldn't even be around her kids anymore, so they were taken away and looked after by Alicent. This whole thing could be a big moment in Episode 1, especially paired with Jace finding out his brother's dead. It's basically the Red Wedding of the Fire and Blood story, a huge way to kick off the new season. Team Green's having a rough time. Aemond didn't know what he was doing, Alicent was scared for her kids, and Otto had his own messed up reasons. And speaking of revenge, Aegon's not taking this lightly. He's got his own plans brewing, keeping that eye for an eye thing going. So, they come up with a plan for Eric Cargill to do a little switcheroo. He sneaks into Dragonstone dressed as a fisherman and heads up to the castle pretending to be his brother. They look so much alike that nobody can even tell the difference. So, Eric strolls through without anyone stopping him. He's supposed to kill a royal, but the book's meisters aren't sure if it's Rhaenyra or another kid. Before he can do anything though, he runs into his brother, and they end up fighting. Guards and onlookers gather around, but since they can't tell who's who, they don't interfere. They both end up saying they love each other before fighting to the death. After that, things start looking up for Rhaenyra's side. Some lords who swore loyalty to Aegon start questioning their choice. And there's a lot of unrest among his followers. Aegon thought he could win them over by just simply being a man, but turns out it's not that simple. It was a real mess in the kingdom because of sexism, which made things pretty chilly when people started switching sides. Criston advised Aegon to be tough and show force to warn those who weren't on his side what they'd face if they didn't stay loyal. Aegon even took away the Hand of the King badge from his grandfather and gave it to Criston. Meanwhile, we're likely going to see what Daemon and Vermithor were up to. Daemon was last seen heading to the caves of Dragonstone to talk to the dragon and let it know there'd be a new rider soon. Vermithor used to belong to Jaehaerys, but after he died, the dragon went into hiding into the caves. Daemon went to him and tried to gather the other dragons on the island, all to boost their forces. This was called the Sowing, but it later got a darker name, the Red Sowing. because a lot of people got killed trying to ride the dragons. One of them was Stefan Darkland. So they gathered up all the illegitimate kids at Dragonstone. Kinda reminds you of Robert Baratheon and his bastards, right? But what we mean is Dragonstone had villages where Targaryen royals would hang out, get drunk, and hook up with the villagers. That led to a bunch of kids with dragon blood in them, known as dragon seeds. They thought these guys could ride dragons, so they rounded them up to find dragon riders. This is where we'll probably meet Hugh Hammer, a big deal in the book. He ends up riding Vermithor, claiming the dragon as his own. Meanwhile, Daemon takes over Harrenhal, a huge fortress that becomes important in the war. We think that all of this will happen early in the season, leading up to a big battle involving Rhaenys. I mean, last we saw her, she was flying around on Malaise, protecting the Valorian fleet. She helped out a lot, but we don't think she'll make it to the end of Season 2. So, Rhaenys went to Rook's Rest, and Criston Cole, Aemond, and Prince Aegon attacked. Malaise didn't stand a chance against the other dragons, but Rhaenys still fought back. This might be when we finally see Aegon's dragon, Sunfire, who was supposed to show up in Season 1. They were also supposed to meet at the coronation, but Rhaenys interrupted it. They clashed in the air, and Malaise ended up dying in the fight. There was also a burnt body next to her, too damaged to even identify. Aegon got seriously hurt, with his armor melting into his skin. Half of his body was burned, so he had to recover. Aemond took the throne, thinking he'd be a better king. We think that the season will end with Jacaerys' death, mirroring the end of Season 1 with his brother. In the book, this happens during the Battle of the Gullet, hinted at in Season 1's ending with Corlys' fleet. Jacaerys and 4 dragon seeds rolled out, but Vermax got hit by crossbows and pulled into the sea. Jacaerys tried to swim but got shot and died. So Jace was out doing the same thing as his brother Luck, and he ended up flying his dragon named Vermax to this place called the Eyrie. There he met this lady named Jane Arryn. People were gossiping that Jace had to do some not so nice stuff with her together to cooperate, but that rumor came from this gossip guy called Mushroom, who hasn't shown up in the show yet. He's still a big deal in the books, but they're ignoring him in the show. Anyway, Jace then went to White Harbor and promised Joffrey his hand in marriage if they teamed up. After that, he went to Winterfell. That's where he became buddies with this Lord Cregan Stark guy and met someone named Sarah Snow. Rumor has it he secretly married her, but the books do say otherwise. Still, it seems like the show might go in that direction. Oh, and speaking of Winterfell, apparently Vermax laid a bunch of eggs there, which could be a big deal later in the show. They'll probably need more dragons, so that's exciting. Meanwhile, Rhaenyra managed to take King's Landing, but we're still not sure if they'll have time to show that in the season. Those are just our thoughts though on the book. What do you think? And which one is your favorite dragon? Do drop a comment below and let us know. Oh, and also, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button before you go. Anyway, thanks for watching the video. Take care and peace out.